You clicked on this video because you saw the title below, Lilith in the third house. And yeah, you might have this natally, transitionally, or progressively. And before anything, I want to introduce who Lilith is. Lilith is Adam's original first wife. Basically, they came from the same dirt and soil from Earth, and they were both very similar. They were both dominant, independent, all that stuff. He wanted her to be submissive. She was not. And he didn't like that. There's more to the story. There's more like depthness in the story, but I'm summarizing this in a quick way. And basically he shamed her, he casted her out, and she felt very repressed and shamed. And he eventually pulled out Eve out of his rib and manifested her to be submissive, which she was. So they became the perfect couple in his eyes. And now Lilith was there left feeling judged, repressed, shamed, and that is how it's going to manifest in your life wherever your chart is. In your case, it would be in the third house. If you have this, you could be cross-watching as well, but let's get right into it. If you happen to have Lilith in the third house natally, that would be a big theme in your life. It's a big movie screen theme. If it's transitional, it would be a chapter. If you have it progressively, it will be kind of in the middle of a chapter and a big theme, because when your progression chart starts moving, it is slow. It moves very, very slow. So that chapter will be a long journey, depending on the degrees that you have with your Lilith. Third house is about communication, your expression, your voice, connecting on the internet, also about your vicinity, your neighborhood, the cities next to your city, siblings as well. It's also an introduction to educational programs on TV. PBS was a really big educational program. And then you may have played PC games, especially if you're a millennial, also related to vehicles like cars. That is the energy. Now let's talk about how it will manifest if it's natally. If you happen to have this natally, it will be a big theme in your life, and what happens is a couple things can manifest. So I'm going to give a couple examples. I'll start off with celebrities. The first one is Jesus Christ. He has Lilith in the third house. I think he has a stellium. I think he has Sun, Saturn, Venus, and Lilith in the third house, and it's the sign of Pisces. So he has a Capricorn ascendant. Very Saturn energy happening in his life already, but he also has that with Lilith there. So he definitely was judged, but for sure, like as good as a person he was, his words were very loving. People still hated on him. And that's a whole thing too. That's an example. So people will hate on the things that you have to say, even though it might be very educational, very beautiful, very different, and kind of speaking out of the box. So in his case, I guess there were like kings that wanted to make sure everyone knew that they were the one and they were on top. And very narcissistic, to be honest. Looking at history, I'm like, that's very narcissistic. Wanted to be above. And he always kind of said like, no, we're all one. All humans are just like as worthy. I mean, I don't know the details of every word he said, but that was kind of the message he would give out. And he would give out about compassion and things like that, and caring about the collective. And the problem was that the kings, the ones with the ego that wanted to be superior, was like, oh, you think you're God? You think you're this, that, like projecting onto him. So then he was shamed upon, and people would throw rocks at him and just tell him that he's cuckoo and like things like that. So people won't want to let you have a voice in your life. Unfortunately, in this area, they might be intimidated about what you have to say in this world. You might grow up with maybe actually we'll get into the siblings in a bit, but I want to get through a couple well-known people. We also have Kendall Jenner. So she has Lilith in the third house. Now, I did notice in some other webs, it looked like it was in the fourth house as well, but let's say it's in the third house. I feel like it is because I checked a couple websites, and she has Gemini Lilith in the third house. I just recently saw a podcast about her, and she was talking about how no matter what she says, she feels like people will clip and cut and gossip and say whatever it is that they want to say about her without her even talking about anything, really. So she definitely feels like people, they will put in a story, they will put in anything that they want to do to make her look bad or make her look in the dark or whatever. And that is very true with a lot of celebrities. There's a lot of gossip magazines and TV shows and things like that that want to bring, and also YouTube as well. People in YouTube, not YouTube, but like people in YouTube want to bring down some celebrities without even getting to know who they really are. Because remember, celebrities are human as well, and we don't really know who they are. Except for some, I'm like, okay, yeah, they're putting it out there. Since her life was about her siblings, which is Gemini, maybe she was sucked into that dark energy in a very, very little age. I don't know her personally, but honestly, like the energy that I get from her when I saw her in a podcast, she really is cool, like a very genuine, cool person. It's just, I feel like people will cut off things about you when you have this placement in the third house. You might say something that might trigger the collective, and they'll like make it look like, oh, how dare you say that. Then we have Britney Spears as well. She has Lilith, Sagittarius, third house. And she also has a stellium here as well. It's Mercury, Venus, Neptune, and Sun. I do notice with Britney Spears, she had such iconic music with her lyrics. So like, oops, I did it again. I played with your heart. She's also known to be shamed for the public display with what happened with Justin Timberlake. Did the Cry Me a River thing and said that she was a cheater and all this stuff, and it probably did happen, but I don't know the details of everything in everyone's life. But that was a big theme in her life, very shocking stuff. So those are a couple examples of some people from history or celebrities that have Lilith in the third house. Now I'm going to talk about what can manifest, and there's so many things that can manifest. So what can happen is, if you happen to have siblings in this placement or in this place of your life, you will experience a very dark energy with a sibling. And I've seen this with people. I'm not going to say who and who, but I remember a certain boy told me once that his sister told him to himself because she thought he was annoying. I know that's like really dark and that's inappropriate, but like that's how dark his life was with his sibling, and it's really sad actually. But you will experience maybe dark energies. You may even see your sibling go through a dark path, maybe not towards manifesting it with you in a way where like they're projecting it on you, but it could also be like you see them go downhill in a very, very dark place. But most of the time I feel like there's a dark energy that they will project on you and make you feel shameful, repressed. You're not able to experience things that you might need to experience or express yourself, or else you will have consequences. That's another thing. Aside from the sibling, people might give you consequences if you speak up for yourself and shame you for speaking up for yourself. They will blame you. They will make you feel like, oh, I don't like how you made me feel. If you call them out, let's say you called them out, I don't like how you made me feel. Now you have to minimize yourself and shush and stay quiet, and or else you will suffer the consequences. People can like ghost you here. They can ghost you in real life. They can give you the silent treatment and make you feel very repressed. I know it's like dark energy. I know I'm giving a lot of dark energy because usually most people think, oh, it's that person that has like gossiping and lying tendencies. I usually think it's a manifestation from your vicinity. So let's say you're not in a safe place in your life, whether that's home or around siblings or your neighborhood or something around you that you're not feeling safe to speak up for yourself, or else you'll have consequences. What happens is that you'll end up lying to certain people to keep yourself safe, unfortunately. And I know that feeling, because it's not that you're a liar, but sometimes if, let's say you're talking to a narcissist, if you tell them you're having a bad day, they're gonna say, now you're making me have a bad day, now I'm in a bad mood. So sometimes you almost want to lie, and you feel repressed, but you're just like, I'm good, like I'm just good. There might be like a secrecy within yourself. And also maybe you start to also feel like your surrounding is very dark with Lilith in the third house. You start to realize, like, I think I just want to be independent and move on by myself. There's like a big independence because you want to protect yourself and you want to express yourself in whatever way that you need to. And you might have to like some kind of separation in some way. It doesn't have to be that way. So let's say you move out of your house, but it's 2 apartments away, but it's away from your vicinity that was repressing you. It's like that, and you're going to want to be independent in that area. Another way it can manifest is that you may have a parent that has a favorite. So this can be like the mother or father being like the baby girl of the family, and the boys are like, whatever, like who cares? Or the mom might be like, my boy, and not care about the girl. And it's not about gender, it's just about like a specific sibling. And that's an example. So, or sometimes a separation can happen, kind of like Britney Spears. She also had weird separation with her sibling. Her sibling was very hurt by her parents. She felt very unloved, and her parents were so focused on Britney Spears, but in a very dark way. Like, it kind of did a big detriment in her mental health for Britney as well. So yeah, that's definitely a thing where there could be favorites and there's 2 against 1 kind of energy. If you don't have a sibling, it doesn't have to be like that. Sometimes it's just your neighborhood. They always hate on you. It could be like the same gender. They feel like you trigger them in some way. And also Lilith is a very sexual energy as well. So you might have a very attractive voice, and that might trigger other people. That might make them feel like, oh, like why do they have that voice? It can give like gossip energy. People want to gossip about you and say anything to bring you down because there's something very like attractive about you. It could also be that you feel like someone doesn't like your voice. So let's say you're a girl and you have a very deep voice, and people are like, you're supposed to have a girly voice, or vice versa. You have a very nice voice, but someone with that doesn't feel like they have a nice voice, they are shaming you for having the voice that you have. Oh, like your voice is weird, when in reality they're projecting how they feel into you. Same thing with the guys. Sometimes some guys are like that, where they don't want to hear another guy have a deeper voice and try to project things onto you, like things like that. Another way it can manifest is that you get bullied at school overall. You just get bullied, you feel casted out, you feel shamed for something about yourself. Manifestation would be that you like to read about darker things, taboo things that most people are scared of. It's also giving me like 8th house energy, where you're not really afraid of that taboo things, and sometimes you'll speak it out. Sometimes, so that's like one way I feel like it will manifest in your life. But I know sometimes it is the person that has the Lilith energy. So a really good example would be Elon Musk. Sometimes I feel like he'll just say anything at some point, and I'm like, yeah, I don't blame why people might be like, okay, weirdo, you know, but he definitely has an eccentric way of talking sometimes, or doing some things, and people don't like things like that. They're like, absolutely not. And sometimes, yeah, there is dark energy out there, and that person may carry that dark energy, which is that Lilith energy. But usually how I see Lilith is that it is a manifestation of your vicinity and how it will manifest within yourself. So yeah, and then let's talk about how it would be transitionally. If you happen to have this transitionally, I will say it's very similar to the Nataly one, but it would be more like a chapter. So you're definitely going to have, if you have siblings, you're going to see the dark side of them. You're probably not going to get along with them. You might also feel repressed with your voice. So someone in your household vicinity, doesn't have to be your house, it can be your neighborhood or something, they're all shushing you and they don't want to hear what you have to say. Sometimes you'll call out people like, you hurt me, or that was inappropriate, things like that, and they will reverse it and make you feel so shamed for even speaking up for yourself. Another way would be that you want to be the driver in the seat for some reason. You want control in the car. You want to be the one behind the wheel for some reason. It's giving me like a very dominant, independent vibe. There's also, when I see Lilith transitioning, I also feel like you can be empowering, and you're in the mood for like speaking your truth to the raw core. Like, you're not really trying to be graceful at some point. Unless you have Libra Lilith, you'll be very charming with your words and very persuasive, but I definitely feel like an authentic side of you will come out, and you won't have to really lie about things anymore. You'll just like say it. You're gonna want to express it. And of course, that's not to say like you are hurtful to others and you just say the truth in a mean way. The truth doesn't mean it has to be mean, but it definitely can be authentic. And sometimes you kind of have to stand on your own, even though others may not agree with you. So for example, I have this progressively, so I'll go ahead and transition to the progressive with the transitional one. I definitely felt repressed with a sibling. In fact, it's crazy. I will have consequences if I even show a little vulnerability. It's like you feel like you're walking on eggshells and you have to be careful. And sometimes you do want to speak up for your voice, and sometimes you will, but you know that you will be shamed and you're gonna have to stand your ground anyways. Sometimes you can tell other people like, this happened with me with some person, and they're not gonna believe you sometimes, because they're like, that person's normal. I see them in public all the time, but that person may not show that side with anyone but you. So it's like this placement, well, any placement with Lilith is always hard in my opinion, because that is a dark energy, and it's a place where you have a need to express yourself, but you're shamed for it. But in reality, sometimes people just don't like being called out. People don't like hearing the truth or seeing the mirror in front of the face, and sometimes you will project that onto others and they will not like that. People might lie about you, so unfortunately, this is where the gossip happens during this time transitionally, maybe progressively, where people might say, oh yeah, I had sex with that girl, or I totally broke up with that guy. Like, just saying like anything, and you're just like, what? Like, what are they talking about? But they're telling everyone that, so everyone like views you a certain way, and you're just like in the middle of a gossip and it's not really you, just like things like that. The dark energy, if you were to have it within you, it would be the gossip, lying, manipulation, gaslighting. It would be that kind of energy, or it would be complete isolation. But I genuinely don't feel like that is usually the collective. That only goes with like narcissistic people, which is not, I don't think it's, people say narcissism is like super common, and I think it can be nowadays, but not like that collectively, largely. And I don't think everyone that really wants to look within themselves and really have self-reflection and I think anyone who is self-aware and is willing to take accountability is fine. Bad things can happen to good people is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, you'll know who you are, I feel like. And if you happen to guess like, am I the one, if you're questioning about yourself, I feel like that's already a good place. Usually the person who has a very dark energy does not even want to acknowledge or take accountability about anything within themselves. They just think like above and beyond in a weird way. So yeah, that is a couple things with Lilith in the third house. I guess the last thing I'll say is that it's okay to protect yourself where you feel like you need to protect yourself. sometimes silence is just as strong as your vocal words. So if someone did harm to you and walking away and not saying a word is the best thing for you, so be it. And sometimes you do need to tell that person, like, no, what you did was wrong. There might be, unfortunately, like they might outbreak and have tantrums over that, but that is not your problem, that is theirs. And yeah, take back your power, take back your voice. You have a voice for a reason, and you are meant to use your voice in this life. And of course, in a way where it doesn't harm others and yourself. I forgot to mention one last thing. Lilith does repress herself as well sometimes. So you might feel shame to speak up for yourself by yourself subconsciously. So look into your 12th house if that's linked in there. You might also have like Saturn in the first house or Saturn in the third house. So you might feel repressed and timid and scared and insecure to speak up for yourself. Maybe someone once did something to make you feel small, and ever since that it kind of did something to your psyche or whatever. So yeah, I definitely feel like it could also be within yourself that can feel repressed and you don't feel like you can express your sexual energy or a darker part of you, or even just speaking up for yourself in general because you think there's going to be consequences. I definitely recommend writing, poetry, writing in general, journaling, anything of that sort for Lilith in the third house. Edgar Allan Poe's a really good example. I don't think he has that placement, but he definitely channeled his dark thoughts or energy in a beautiful way through poetry or through writing. So yeah, that is Lilith in the third house. I hope this helped you. Go ahead and comment below if you resonated. And yeah, I hope this helped you. Good luck and take care. You can subscribe, like, and take care.